Steel Valley Logistics. I got here with me Joseph Siguenza and Jacob Linzenbold. These are my partners. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. In 2018, I was working at a third-party logistics company in Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, and I saw there was a glass ceiling I wasn't going to break through, and decided just to step out. I was studying for the bar exam at the time, and I dropped out of that, and you can imagine my family wasn't too happy, but I went with it anyway. And then Jacob came along very early on, and we just kind of ran into each other, and he was asking me if I was still working on the project, and I said, yeah, come on board. And he was with me since. And then, we just started to do it. In September, we opened our doors. We took our order our first day. Believe it or not, it was an absolute nightmare because it turned into a truck order not used, which by definition just means that the trucker showed up. They had given the order to somebody else, and we had to bill the customer $500. But we still have that customer today. So we've been, we were in it on our own, just making it.
Okay, here we go. 1 second.
You good? Is it still
yeah.
going?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right.
Clicked it.
All righty. But no, at any rate, we just kept doing it and doing it. We kept, making orders happen, getting things delivered. And then eventually Joe came along. I think we were at a bar one night and I convinced him just to join me on faith. If you knew how rare of an individual he was, you'd call it a bad deal. But we got him anyway. But at any rate, so we've been going since then. We started, like I said, in 2018. We service every industry except household goods. That's why I say nearly every industry. When I say service provided, it's import, export, ocean services, air services, trucking domestically, drayage, intermodal, which includes rail and trucking. Just anything you can name and we ship it. And I have listed here bootstrapping it. We started this business on a $3,000 bet. So we used up most of our money with the first bonding and probably the first, I'd say, month's bills. Yep. And that was gone. We were on our own. And since then, I mean, we're close to our first $1 million in sales, all on credit. I'm kind of shocked that the banks keep turning us down, but we're good with our money. But at any rate, that's a little bit of history about Steel Valley Logistics. I got a couple definitions here of what a logistics company is. These are just definitions that I looked up online, thought they were relevant. They do make sense. So you have your standard 3PL provider. So this is your most basic form. And essentially pick, pack, ship. They provide warehousing. But you think of yourself as a shipper, you're hiring them as a third party to provide these services. Next, you get down to your service developer, and then these individuals, they're a little bit more advanced through tracking and tracing. They provide cross-docking, specific packaging, etc. Then you got some stuff here, customer adapter. Really, I looked at this one and was just like, yeah, it's just whatever. Now, lead logistics provider, I saw this definition and I said, okay, that's us. We're a non-asset-based company. But we have partnerships with other people in the Valley here in Sharon, where we do have warehousing that we're able to just provide as is. And at that time, as a non-asset-based company, our services extend all over the world. As an NVOCC, that's non-vessel owning common carrier, we have access to every port in the world, including Kosovo. And I think we're one of the only ones that have that. And at any rate, it allows us to go to any market. It makes it easy for us, and it provides a lot of revenue streams because we get to pick at every single facet of this industry. And the last one they have listed is it's, I guess, the highest level that a 3PL provider can attain, and it's just integrates itself with the customer. You'll see a lot of that in the industry. Companies include AIM Logistics or AIM National Leasing. You'll see, for example, like a Campbell's truck, but you'll see and that'll just be a Campbell's trailer, like that's Campbell's soup, and then it'll have an AIM tractor trailer. So they're leasing out all of their property to them, providing those services straight up. So in shipping with just people in the supply chain, it's the manufacturers, the retailers, the consolidators, your end users. Then you got your trucking companies, your drayage companies, warehousing. You got your ocean carriers, your steamship lines. And then you got your rail lines, airlines. Then you got your non-asset-based options, which is what we are: domestic freight broker, freight forwarder, and an international non-vessel owning common carrier, as well as an ocean freight forwarder. Now, this essentially means we can book with the steamship lines, the rail lines. We provide the paperwork, and in some ways, we take on an insurable risk in the goods. Now, a lot of the questions that we get asked, or I guess I hear you go to an incubator and start the company, is that you're an entrepreneur. Personally, I don't consider myself that. I picked this industry. I liked it. I got a compassion for it. And I think it's a one-stop shop. I see this company growing and, sticking around for a long time. At least that's the vision. But there were some key differences I found online. But a businessman and an entrepreneur. And then you got the following, businessman is someone who starts his business on an old concept. I mean, think of just international shipping in general. I mean, it's probably one of the oldest industries, next to prostitution, but, we weren't going to get into that. We're not in London. But at any rate, you have the entrepreneur who has the idea, they work at it. They don't necessarily start to generate a revenue right away. They generate investment, which, for, I guess, a company that's associated or just business oriented, it's very difficult. We own all of our company. We're committed to it every day. And that's what I see sometimes with entrepreneurs, it's just, are they really 100% committed to their craft, or is it just a side job or a hobby? For us, it's our jobs. This is our livelihoods. We're the ones behind the scenes taking care of everything. And with a businessman, he makes his place in the market. Efforts, dedication. The entrepreneur creates the market. The businessman, he's the market player, and the entrepreneur can be the market leader. Nature of the businessman is calculative. Entrepreneur, it says intuitive. Now, you keep reading through these, and I like to think of our business just the way it is. Excuse me. We have so many different things that we offer as far as services that it allows us to be innovative. And a lot of times, wouldn't you agree that, we are entrepreneurs, but within our own corporate profile?
I feel that an entrepreneur and a businessman are more of a couple than a singular
Exactly.
thing. You need your artist and you need your numbers guy, so to speak. So when you can mesh those two together, that's when you can really build something that's going to really succeed, when you have somebody that has experience or knows what they're doing, more so than an entrepreneur that has a new product or a new
Absolutely.
idea. So I mean, the ceiling's a lot higher for the entrepreneur, but the businessman just opening up a HVAC business or a transportation company, that's just the way to make good money over a long period of time. So
Absolutely. No, it requires a lot for a business, I think, to work and to have both of those mindsets. And like you call it, a couple, I think it's just crucial. Joe and I here, we have the experience. Joe much more than I. I took a very scholastic approach to learning this industry. And Jacob was the entrepreneur. He has his businesses in the background. He had been grinding for years, and he had, like I said, it was just a chance meeting. We would cross paths one day. He was a little frustrated with what was going on at ATP Resources, and, Steel Valley just became, something constant. And that's just the way it went. And we've been doing it since. We just keep adding to our portfolio of services that we provide. I mean, we just keep upgrading licensing, insurancing, anything you name it. We're just trying to do better for the customer and, for the business and for the Valley in general. I think we have something where we can create a lot of jobs, especially just being one of two in the area that have the licenses we do. And I think just having the vision and education that we possess definitely sets us apart. But with that said, that's enough of the businessman versus the entrepreneur. I just wanted to include some things as far as like corporate compliance and the benefits of incorporating. I've run into a lot of individuals who just are out there selling goods, you know, just to have their name on the product. You know, they don't file an articles of incorporation. So, you know, just a little rundown. Every Secretary of State's website in the country, and that's your state, either Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, you name it. You go there, you type in the business portal, you look up what company name you want to do, and you file. It's easy. And boom, you got a business. You got a business name, it's recognized. And then with that, you could start getting into liability insurance. You know, you can start to really protect yourself. Because in business, you know, it could extend, you know, just to the liability limits, you know, and that's a lot more, that's a much more in-depth conversation as far as business law goes. And I really don't want to bore you too much with that. But with it, it's simply called piercing the corporate veil. And is when you screw up so much that, you know, the liability insurance doesn't matter. They can come after you personally. And when you don't have that stuff in place already, you're leaving yourself out to so much risk, and you could wind up in such a bad situation that, you know, I don't think it should be just recommended. I should think that insurance and, you know, filing articles of incorporation and being incorporated in general should be a requirement of every business. For us, you know, it requires a lot. You know, we're licensed through the Federal Maritime Commission, the U.S. Department of Transportation, and we're overseen by the Federal Motor Safety Carrier Administration. We have to maintain bonds. So we have bonds in the place of, I think, $150,000 or so. And, you know, we make sure that we carry extra liability insurance. You know, we have, you know, the contingent cargo liability insurance, general liability. You know, we want to make sure that you as the customer, whoever it is protected, because sometimes, you know, even a carrier who presents his documents, he could have falsified it. It could just be something that you, even through vetting processes, miss. But, you know, through us, it's a lot more sure bet that you're going to be protected. And, you know your industry, you know, whether you're dealing in food or, you know, just dry bulk goods, rail car parts, anything. There's different regulations for every industry. So, I mean, that extends from federal regulations to state regulations. And with that, I mean, if you just follow the black letter rule of the law, it's pretty easy, you know, to just get by, and you don't have to do much. You know, as far as how much insurance to buy, I mean, that's just, I guess, weighted on what you're dealing with. How risky is your business? For us, it ranges. You know, we deal sometimes with hazardous chemicals, hazardous waste. You know, some of the wheel set loads that we do, you know, might look pretty dangerous. We do a pretty good job of, you know, vetting the carriers, making sure, you know, that they're doing everything by the book, you know, proper PPE every time. But for example, you know, I've included there just, you know, what we have on file. That doesn't include our bonds. Those are separate. But when you're dealing with a company, always ask to see their company profile, corporate compliance, see what's going on with them. If they can produce something like this, and it shows you that they're committed to the business, they're committed to their customer, that they're legitimate, you know, that they're not going to take you for granted. And you're not going to find yourself in a deal where you're 40,000 in the hole and you're screwed.